Gaming content is one of the most oversaturated and most consumed types of content on the platform, but that wasn't always the case. When YouTube first began to hit its stride, most videos were skits, parodies, vlogs, and other real-life centric videos, but around the year 2008, we started to see an increase in the consumption of gaming-related videos. More specifically, Call of Duty videos. These videos were generally just raw gameplay highlighting a good score or montages showcasing cool clips. But on January 15th, 2009, everything would change.
Hey guys, this is Blame Truth.
Blame Truth created the first known Call of Duty commentary when he uploaded Call of Duty 4, Free for All 7, M4 Carbine. Although a simple innovation, adding commentary to the gameplay not only gave the viewer insight into the mind of the player, but gave us a reason to feel connected to the creator. This innovation would slowly start to catch on as other creators began to make their own commentaries. Both Excalizors and Hutch would start making commentaries of their own. It's been said that the existence of each other was not known to each other, but rather a mere coincidence that all three of these people would begin commentaries around the same time. However, who started first isn't as important to this story as how these commentaries would evolve, and the impact they would have on YouTube gaming as a whole. The first commentaries on YouTube mainly consisted of a play-by-play style overview of the gameplay being showcased. The commentator would break down what they were doing, why they did it, what went wrong, or what went right. This play-by-play would start to turn into tips and tricks where the commentator would provide strategies on how to be an overall more successful Call of Duty player. From map navigation, class creation, decision-making, and control schemes, these tips and tricks became a smash hit with viewers. Players like myself simply could not consume enough of this content. Modern Warfare 2 would release, and the viewership would see such a massive spike never before seen on the gaming side of YouTube. Then came Machinima.com, an online video corporation established in the year 2000 that focused on publishing video game-related videos on their own website. Machinima would first join YouTube in 2006 and saw plenty of success with their community-centric formula of posting other creators' submitted videos. Machinima took notice of the current COD commentary boom and capitalized on it, making a secondary channel specifically for housing FPS games. That channel was called Machinima Respawn. The channel itself would continue the same formula of the main channel, but also added a hub show with Mr. Sark at the forefront. Respawn would go on to pump out hundreds of videos, garnering millions of views. Then came the partnership program in 2010, and the ever-growing commentary boom exploded. Machinima became one of the most subscribed channels on the platform, and if you managed to get a partnership with Machinima, they would post your videos in exchange for a percentage of the ad revenue. Landing a Machinima partnership deal was a massive accomplishment and the main goal for essentially every creator in the space at the time. Machinima's large audience gave exposure to your personal channel that was seemingly unachievable otherwise. In 2009 to 2010, we started to see some of the biggest commentators in the space, such as Hutch, CNanners, and the previously mentioned Blame Truth, had all agreed to partnerships with Machinima. These creators would continue to dominate the commentary scene, however, competition was becoming rather fierce. Nearly every day there was a new commentator entering the scene, as well as some OGs starting to garner more and more attention. From Only Use Me Blade, Pyro Puncher, Wings to Redemption, Tabe, and a slew of others, there was no shortage of competition in the commentary field. The problem with this influx of new commentators is that the range of topics was rather narrow. Most of everyone was doing the exact same thing. Gameplay commentaries talking about tactics, strategies, and as we know now, this formula would become stale and redundant as the newness of MW2 would wear off. Creators like Hutch would heavily lean into more personal or unrelated topics, with the gameplay being only a backdrop and no longer a focal point of the video. This new formula of a wider range of topics opened the door for a new group of commentators to enter the fold. Woody's Gamertag would launch his Mail Monday series, and CNanners began to talk a lot more of practical real-life thinking, telling personal stories, and in some cases, just giving straight-up life advice. Call of Duty was now only the initial draw for the videos. The people were watching for the personality. And with this change in direction, we arrive at the commentary summit, the peak of viewership and growth. Hindsight is always 20/20, and it's easy to see now where things began to go wrong with the commentary formula. It was repetitive. There was far too much competition, and the excitement about this new media had plummeted. People were ready for the next innovation, and what would that be? As time went on and commentaries failed to change, creators began to abandon the format. Take CNanners, for instance.
I can smell you.
He was already one of the biggest, if not the biggest, commentator on the platform, and he had the foresight to see the genre beginning its decline. Scene Enters would shift from a raw, unedited commentary style to a highly edited style video with frequent cuts to craft his funny moments genre videos. Steering away from Call of Duty as a whole, he leaned into games that would create more naturally humorous situations like Trouble in Terrace Town and The Hidden. However, this wasn't the only creator who shifted into this style of video. Both Vanoss Gaming and KYR Speedy relied heavily on their group of friends to create funny moments using Call of Duty as a mere vessel. Commentaries had become a thing of the past. It seemed as if everything that could have been said during these commentaries were said, so people naturally moved on to the next thing. That brings us to today. Nearly a decade has passed and commentaries are back and growing at a rather slow but relatively stable rate. From new creators like YLearn and Once Faded to even larger creators that are a little bit more established like Nico Yaps and BBK Dragoon, we are starting to see more and more of these commentary style videos hit the recommended page. But why now? What about this modern commentary scene is capturing people's attention yet again? Let's hear from some of the creators who are garnering in this new age of Call of Duty commentaries.
The stuff that motivates me, I think, to make these videos is just kind of chatting about stuff that I like to chat about, or stuff that I'm not going through because I don't really have something that I'm particularly going through, but I just like chatting about stuff that's kind of going on in life, and I think it's interesting to chat about life with people, and I think it's very interesting to get to know what people are, what other people are doing in life, and I just kind of like that aspect of it, just kind of chatting to people about it.
For me, it's the positive comments. I love when people leave a comment and they say that, they watched something that I mentioned in the video and they went and implemented it in their own life, whether it be something about investing, a finance tip. That gives me so much fuel to keep going, because the community overall is extremely, extremely positive, and I really do think all of us have found something special here among the chaos of life as it is. So the positivity of the community definitely uplifts me. It makes my days better because, life's tough, and I feel like some of the mistakes I've made in my life can be valuable to others, and I want to continue to share stories and what I've learned, and hoping that, a couple of people out there can benefit along the way. So
for me, I think it's a lot more personal. It feels like you're actually talking to the person, whereas a lot of these newer channels that do the high production stuff, it's almost like you're watching a movie. Whereas on commentaries, you can kind of pop in and meet the person, see what they're about, and learn a lot from them personally, and learn a lot about their life experiences.
I think what's crazy is I almost feel like I was hoping something like this would happen. 2 years ago, I had this vision. I had a vision of me being on a live stream, playing some Fallout 3, and kind of bringing subscribers on to talk with me, kind of like a therapy style, going back and forth. And I was like, man, I don't know why, but the idea of playing games with my viewers, talking with them about life, has always really resonated with me. But, later on, I saw on my feed a Minecraft video by Nico, and I saw that this was sort of becoming a thing, that people were getting views by kind of doing the concept I had all that time ago, but they just refined it and were doing it way better. Instead of it being a Let's Play where it's numbered episodes, it was just based on the topic. And my mind was blown, because I was like, oh, that dream, that vision I had is actually possible. Other people are doing it now.
It's got to be the people. Through making this style of content, again, I've had such a great opportunity to sort of meet other people who share similar interests with me. And from that, we've kind of kindled friendships. Now, it's sort of like it was back in the day when you could go on at near enough any time and one of the boys would be playing COD, and you could just hop in a party chat with them and just kick back and have a lot of fun.
I took a little piece of everyone. It's really interesting. I have this mental model in my head. It's White Boy 7th Street was really cool to just be that kid that you could relate to. He was financially okay, but he was still in his beginnings, humble beginning stages. There was Woody, who was kind of a father figure, talked about finance a little bit, talked about just general life advice, was really cool. He wasn't even that, crazy at the game. There was T Martin, who was giving tips and tricks. And then I think the first video that I ever actually stumbled upon COD commentary wise guys was Hutch. I think Hutch was the big one to me. It was just like, damn, this is just a guy who hooked up his Xbox to I think it was the Hoppogs or something like that. I don't remember how it was pronounced, but I was like, he was explaining this. I'm like, this is really damn cool. And then CNanners, Mr. Sark, the whole like Respawn guys. And I remember that company, Machinima Respawn, was like, at some points, I know it wasn't really directly, but it seemed bigger than YouTube itself. It's like, oh my God, if you got a Machinima Respawn contract, like you'd be banking. And that was really cool for me as a kid to be like opening my eyes to seeing these creators back then make, you know, really half decent money and be able to cover themselves, but also just have a lot of fun doing so.
I think first off, as a viewer, it's just really cool to see everyone's opinion on the same topics. You know, I feel like there's been a lot of creators that have made pretty similar topics. I feel like everyone in this scene has made a video on nostalgia, and it's just interesting how everyone relates to very similar things and how they've taken those experiences and how it's like shaped them to be the person that they are today. And as a creator, for me, the biggest thing is just like the things I talk about on my channel are things that like I need to hear myself. So I think that it's cool that whenever I get a comment that's like, oh, I relate to this or I know what you mean, it just helps me feel like less alone. It's also cool to just look back and watch it and like hear myself in like a good mindset if ever I'm in a bad one and I just need to hear myself talk.
It's really like, I think a lot of the engagement and where I get stuck to YouTube is in the comment section. You know, having a conversation with either the person I'm watching or someone watching me, or just even another person that's in the comment section. I feel like just having those conversations, even in like Discord, like we are in here with different Discord chats, it's just great to engage with other people, see how they're doing. And go beyond just the video itself that people post, but I would say that's what's kept me around, and I really enjoy that aspect. And you know, community posts as well, streams are starting to pop up here and there as we see, and it's just more engaging than anything. I think the in-person streams is interesting too.
I'd say I think it is evolving. I think it's kind of been like a wave of like, you know, people coming into the scene and innovating to stand out. I am very optimistic. I think this, you know, space can become large again, maybe larger than it's ever been. I think people are kind of moving away from these hyper sensationalized, hyper edited Mr. Beast style videos, and they want more genuine, authentic, down to earth things. I think, you know, like the Weekly Slap and Nico and creators like Wildern are kind of proving that, and I think the space is only growing. One thing I'd like to see is just in general, like collaboration. Like I think as a community, that's way more powerful than any individual creator, and I think as a community is really where it could come to that next level where we have people getting like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, like really emerging out of this small niche and into a more general space.
It needs to branch out to a point where it's like there's more unique styles of content. I feel like right now, like including myself, you know, there's a lot of people making this kind of content where it's like that kind of, you know, self-help motivation, talking about, you know, nostalgia in the past, which, you know, I feel like is good and it's important, and I'll probably continue to make that kind of content. But I think, you know, we need to branch out to think of, not go all the way to left field and make something completely different, but something in this genre. There's a lot of potential for it, but I feel like it's going to be someone's going to come up and it's going to be like, people are going to be like, oh, how did I not think of that? And then people are going to be forming their own ideas from that. So I'm not really sure what specifically it's going to be yet, but I think there is going to be this shift of a different kind of content within this niche.
With this question, I kind of interpreted it a little bit differently, right? So I think there's where I'd like it to evolve and where I think it will evolve. So where I'd like it to evolve is to a point where the scene gets big enough again where people can make their passion into what they do for a living, which I think would be great. I also like sort of like the culture we've currently got, where it's sort of like the prime MCU, where like you just have people showing up in other people's movies, and it's kind of like that with the videos where you can watch one commentator, randomly someone else will be in the video, or if you check the comment section, more than likely you'll know everyone. I think the viewers will start to become a bit more selective with who they choose to watch. So it's going to be those who bring something unique. So say topics nobody's talking about. Once it evolves out of a niche and becomes more of a mainstream sort of meta, personality is really what shines through. And I think that's going to be the biggest component.
I really thought about this question. I narrowed it down to, I would love to see like some of the old guys come back and do like maybe some type of engagement with the community. Like if Scene Inners came on someone's video and just talked about anything, any sort of life advice or whatever, or Hutch comes in and says something, that would just be awesome. I would be so glad for whoever, you know, makes that video, or however that would work, maybe a live stream or something. That's like where I'd want the scene to go and just grow to get like attention of those people and just be more engaging and, you know, have a great time. A lot of us are here from a nostalgic standpoint and we love those times, and I think it would just be cool to have like one of those people from those times to come in and join us, you know, just to create, do something fun.
Yeah, so this is one I've thought about because, yeah, as you mentioned there, it did kind of die out. That Mr. Beast video comes to mind where he's like saying you have to do IRL things, and look at Mr. Beast. He's like arguably one of the most famous people on the planet now. But I'd like to continue to see more personal storytelling, more collaborations, and more kind of leaning into each other, because we're a community of people that found each other online from all over the world and come together to kind of form this lifelong community. So I'd like to see all of us continue to grow up and navigate adulthood together, and maybe people will branch out into different things, like maybe, you know, branching into finance, you know, fatherhood or life advice, and a lot of other areas. There's so many things we can cover because we're all living different and unique lives. So I think many people are going to rise up, many people are going to quit, many people will go into other genres or switch into IRL content or business content or something. And I'm also very interested to see how tech advances like AI and, you know, even the metaverse kind of play their way into this, because I think the world's going to get crazy in the next 5 to 10 years. So
the way that I'd like to see it evolve even, would be more interesting topics, because I feel like over time you're not going to run out of topics, obviously, because things happen all the time. So I don't think the topics will get stale. But I'd definitely like to see some sort of like improvement. Like, for example, I was looking at people like calling me crazy as well. And yourself, of course, your beautiful self. The editing's definitely making it even more entertaining to watch, and makes you more likely to listen to the full thing. But I feel like that would be a good way to evolve the community. Or not evolve the community, evolve the videos in some sort of way.
I'd really like to see it evolve into a more kind of like hands-on, like working with everyone here on YouTube, just kind of like being more receptive and off of feedback. And I think there needs to be a lot more of that, where we can kind of feed off of each other's ideas and be able to share our own points of view and kind of spread that along with other people, as well as getting feedback from our audiences and really seeing what they want to know about. I know for a while I had a lot of people being like, hey man, what is college like? Like, what kind of things do I need to look forward to? And being able to shift with your audience and focus on what their needs and wants are, as well as trying to kind of stay out there and stay different and not kind of fall into the very same thing that everyone else is doing, and just kind of be able to differentiate but share ideas, if that makes sense.
I just think continue to inspire. If there's anything like that I really want to lead this time with, it's that all of us should continue to help one another, want everyone to grow, because there's more than enough. Like, it's not really, I love it because there's no real like unhealthy competition. Everyone's like wanting to help one another, which is so damn cool to see. And if there's anything, it's like continue to inspire other people to start creating content and just live a really cool and solid life, honestly, while still playing these really cool games. So I know that's kind of a drawn out answer, but it's really how I feel. I just want people to feel inspired. I want people to feel motivated and also have a ton of fun.
It's clear to me now that the draw for genuine and meaningful content is a major factor in the return of this genre. People are growing ever tired of the brain rot and the inorganic, energetic, and fabricated personalities of modern YouTube. Old YouTube is finally back, people. I just hope that this time, it's here to stay.